Hi, Amy.
Abby.
Last night was Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 21. This was the Tell-All Part 2.
Part duh. One more to go.
No, 2 more to go.
What?
Isn't it?
I thought there was only one left.
I thought there were 5,682 episodes.
There are.
You tell us. Look it up. Keep us informed.
You're right. Because there's the
4.
tell-all and then the tell-all finale.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
What does that
I was going to say
mean?
something else there, but yes, for heaven's sakes, what does that even mean?
I noticed your mouth.
I went the heaven. Feaven. For heaven's sakes.
For heaven's sake.
Why do we need this?
I don't know. Because this one didn't really give us too much. It was just a lot of Adnan postulating.
Adnan can suck my bleep.
Big toe?
Yes. Well, actually, I wouldn't want him anywhere near my big toe, let alone sucking on it. So that was probably a bad thing to say. He was offensive. He was disgusting. He was a big fat waste of time, and I just wanted him to shut the F up.
Yes, I believe that he needs to get his mouth sewn shut because he kept putting it, or like talking over other people and giving his opinions when they don't matter. And he was just trying to like
just insert
himself into everyone's storyline and to judge and accuse everyone of things, and he just gave off like the worst holier than thou patriarchal, controlling douchebag energy, and it was just completely unnecessary. And I think it made the episode, well, probably all the tell-alls, if it's going to go this way, it just created like a super trashy atmosphere.
It did. And not only was he extremely offensive and judgmental, I think was the word that came to mind for me the most as I was watching it. He was extraordinarily judgmental. And given his religious fervor, shall we say, I find it particularly offensive that somebody who claims to be such a religious man, such a devout man, to be so incredibly judgmental of other people, even if they are of his same religion, and whether or not they are Christians or Muslims or whatever they may be, he was just outrageously disgusting towards everybody. And his little minion by his side, Tiger Lily, mimicking and echoing and encouraging him every step of the way, was equally disgusting.
Yes, I agree. You reflect the company that you keep.
Her transformation is startling, is it not?
Yeah. It seemed like it was overnight.
We have come so far with Tiger Lily from the woman at the beginning who claimed, and obviously it was a false herring, red herring for us, it wasn't real, claimed that she did not want to be in a relationship with anybody who was controlling because that's what her previous marriages were like, and that's why they dissolved. To see her now, she is his puppet.
Yep.
She is spineless. She has no thoughts of her own. She has no expressions of her own. She just reiterates everything.
I don't think she has any thoughts at all.
She reiterates anything and everything he says and speaks for him as if she knows him better than anybody else. Maybe she does. But she is just like a squid, a jellyfish. She has no spine, no backbone, nothing resembling a bone in her body whatsoever anymore. If she ever did, I don't know. But it's sad.
You want to know what else is sad, but also kind of exciting to think about?
Tell me.
When Adnan's mom watches this, she's going to be so disappointed in him.
Oh, that's a good thought. I wonder what her reaction would be if she was watching this and to see Tiger Lily just so completely in his power and in his thrall, just doing whatever he says
by him.
Yeah. Well, I guess we've already started, but before we start more, can I just say three things? Please rate us on whatever platform you listen to the podcast. If you prefer to watch, please head over to YouTube, look for our channel at 90 Day Fiancé Honestly. And lastly, our subscriber-only content has launched. And if you'd like to join us, we are discussing The Last Resort Season 2. It's only available through Apple and Spotify. Okay, let's restart, re-begin, whatever you want to call it.
Let's dive in.
Let's dig in a little deeper. With Niles and Matilda, Niles is still very upset with Adnan when we start the episode because of what he did previously, which is basically to call, well, not basically, totally, completely, utterly, to call Matilda a scammer, which is wrong. He doesn't know, again, judgy much. And we get into this discussion about whether or not Niles went to Ghana knowing that Matilda intended for them to get married and he intended not for them not to get married, and how much intentionality was there when he made that decision. And he admits, yeah, he did kind of lead her down the garden path. He did talk about marriage with her before he left. But there's also this explanation that's given about how marriage in Ghana means going through with the actual ceremony very quickly after you've started discussing it, which is not something you would do in North America or maybe in most of the world. But there it is taken more seriously. So it's a yes and no kind of answer, which I thought was very fair and valid. And I love the way that he lived up to, he owned his share of the confusion over whether or not they were going to get married on this trip. What did you think?
I thought he communicated himself very well. I completely supported his response. I thought he was honest. I thought he maintained his integrity.
Yeah.
I think he did really well.
And Mr. Ark joins the cast as an unnecessary guest via video. He, I thought, was a little bit harsh towards Niles. He started off by saying Niles has broken his promise to Matilda by not bringing her back to the U.S. after the 5-month window that had been previously explained as the outside edge of how long it would take Niles to get Matilda back. It's no fault of his own that process is taking longer than that. And additionally, he now needs $8,000 to get Matilda to the States. Now, I thought in the last episode that he had mentioned it being $4,000.
I think it's only 4 that he needs left, but the entire process is 8.
Okay. So that's a pretty big sum of money that he still needs. And whenever somebody brought up money on the panel last night, talking about how much is still remaining for them to save up before they can get their partner there, I thought, why the hell don't Tiger Lily and Adnan just offer to pay for it? Because obviously they can very easily.
You know, it's funny that you should say that, because just before I popped on here, I found a post on Reddit. And it was a post from Tiger Lily, like one of those questions. And she said something to the effect of, well, had Niles respected Adnan, he would have just given him the money. And I was like, that is utter bullshit. There is no way that you're going to dig into your pockets and help someone that you don't know, let alone someone that you do know. Like, there's no way that either of those two have any generosity within their bones or their genetic makeup. I think it's absolute bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was just said to make herself look better, which she seems to be intent upon doing in all of her social media lately. It's really revolting what she's putting out there. I'll leave our audience to go ahead and do their own research. I'm not going to talk about it. But that thought did cross my mind that I think there was one other couple who mentioned they had a $1,500 deficit. I can't remember which one it was, but we'll get to it as we go on. And I just thought, you guys know how this process works, meaning Tiger Lily and Adnan, you know how difficult it is to be away from your spouse. Why don't you just offer to pay for these people, since you are clearly in a position to do so extremely easily? And these people are working what amounts to minimum wage jobs in order to save up, which will take them years to do, especially in Niles's case, as Matilda is pretty much dead set on having Niles come to visit her in Ghana again, since it's taking so long. And then that, of course, would take money away from his fund for the visa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in this moment, Adnan reveals himself to be an ass yet again, because it's not the first time. He gets asked by Sean, what do you think about Niles using some of his money that he's saving for the visa to go visit Matilda? And he starts chiding Niles for being disrespectful to him. He was on this rant. It kept coming up over and over again throughout the episode, and it was so annoying and so boring. You don't respect me. Why don't you give me respect? Why don't you give respect to my family? It's like, what?
And he's saying all of this while talking over Mr. Ark.
Yeah.
If you want respect, you have to earn respect, because obviously you're disrespecting other people. So,
yeah,
everyone's respect towards you is going to be a little diminished, if not completely diminished, based on his attitude. And then here he goes disrespecting Niles' dad.
I got very angry.
I did too. So even though, Mr. Ark chides him for walking off the stage, I fully supported that because
yes,
it could have gotten a lot worse. So I appreciate the fact that Niles acknowledged that his emotions were getting a little out of control and he needed to take a moment, and he did.
Absolutely. This is the right choice. When things get so tense, so heated, and your emotions are getting so out of control that you're about to explode, the right thing to do is to walk away, give yourself a moment. And he did say, I just need a moment before he left, to take the time on your own to calm yourself, to center yourself, and to bring those energies down a little bit, and then to return to the scene. So I felt kind of, I don't know, I didn't have any respect for Mr. Ark punishing or telling Niles that he was doing the wrong thing by saying, you should not have walked off set, you should not have done that, that was wrong. Because then that just kind of fed into Adnan's whole storyline for Niles, which I thought was totally unfair. When Adnan was so deliberately and obviously antagonizing Niles, it was so clear he was getting enjoyment out of the fact that he was making Niles angry and stirring up all these emotions in Niles, because he was smiling. He was giddy throughout the whole thing.
Working.
He was so satisfied with himself for having made Niles so upset that Niles eventually had to leave the stage, and then to have Niles come back and be told by his elder, by his father figure, that he had acted wrongly, just played into Adnan's hand. And I felt that was so unfair.
Yeah. And the fact that he was just so smug about it, like, oh God, he has no redeeming qualities in any capacity. And I felt so bad for Niles, because he didn't deserve that, to be put in that position. I don't think he deserved for Mr. Ark to admonish him in front of other people. And no.
Adnan was being a class A jerk. And Niles, when he came back to set, admitted what was going on inside of himself. He was being very vulnerable, very honest. He said, I just needed a moment. I apologize for leaving. And then Mr. Ark says, well, you have to apologize to everybody here, not just me, everybody in this congregation, which I thought was funny because it's definitely not a church, but everybody in this congregation for walking off and losing control. And you've got to make amends for that. Again, unnecessary, I thought. And I thought that Mr. Ark was just kind of playing up to this role of being the father figure who has to tell the children what to do and what not to do when they've crossed the line. But in this particular situation, Niles had not crossed the line.
No, and Niles specifically apologized to Mr. Ark, to Matilda, and I think maybe one other person. His apologies were very specific towards people and not to the entire congregation, as Mr. Ark had intended. And I was really disappointed by this, because I was really looking forward to seeing Mr. Ark and hearing what he had to say. And Adnan just talked over him the entire time, which led to this situation where Niles is in the doghouse with Mr. Ark, and and the fact that Sean didn't step in to shut him down, Adnan, I mean, obviously, like there was just no. Adnan gave absolutely no respect for
No,
Mr. Ark.
the way that he
And
was saying
Niles.
to both of them, but the way that Adnan was saying to Mr. Ark, "Oh, I like your outfit. When I go to Mecca and I do my blah 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 in my religion," it's like, this is not about you, Adnan. Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
And let this man speak and stop being so condescending to everybody. You are not God's gift to the universe. You are just a man. Maybe not even a man, just like a boy. You're still not even a fully fledged adult by the way you're acting. Shut up. Try to be a little bit more composed. And maybe we might have some respect for you, but the way that he keeps flying off the handle and being so utterly judgmental to everybody, even his elders, was so off-putting. I found it really difficult to accept the fact that not only was Tiger Lily not saying anything to him, like just like giving him the elbow and saying, "That's enough, honey. Stop."
Well, even
to save himself.
Matilda did that with Niles. Niles, calm down.
Yeah,
And she's in Ghana.
but Tiger Lily was not only not actively asking Adnan to stop, but she was not actively encouraging him, but she was supporting him whenever it came around for her to express how she felt about the situation. She would uphold him and back him up. And I'd be like, what is this? Are you in a cult? Have you been completely brainwashed?
Seems like it. And the way that he would make a comment and then they would look at each other. Just the smugness. Just. Ugh.
It's so irritating. Like, I want to not talk about them because I was so irritated by both of them. But on the other hand, I need to express how completely outrageous his behavior was and how disgusting I found it.
I 100% agree with you. I would like to never see them on my screen again. Though they had, as we said in the beginning, it impacted everyone else's segments.
Yeah.
And it really impeded our opportunity to learn more.
Absolutely. Like, it's outrageous. Why does Sean allow this? Why don't they mute his mic?
Probably because he would just take Tiger Lily. It's not like she's using it. It's just like, do you respect my relationship? Do you respect me? What does it matter? Like you just want him to bow down and kiss your feet publicly because you feel like he has somehow disrespected you when he's done absolutely nothing, while you are, in that moment in time, disrespecting Niles, his father, Matilda, and the entire congregation.
Yeah. Irony of ironies. That the man who is the man-child who is demanding respect from everybody on the stage is in fact himself being completely disrespectful to everybody up there. This was particularly evident to me when he was attacking Niles over and over again during this segment when Mr. Ark was still there, and Matilda started crying because she was upset for the way that Adnan was talking to her husband, and she wanted it to stop, but he wouldn't stop. And even when she was speaking, he was speaking over her and trying to get her to shut up. It's like nobody else, especially if you're a woman, is allowed to have an opinion on the stage except for Adnan.
And
Nobody
if you
else
do have an
counts.
opinion, if it does not reflect his exactly, you are wrong. You are inferior.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, this guy. Well, on a happier note, we find out that Niles has paid back Mr. Ark for the loan that he was made during the knock door ceremony. So good job, Niles. We love that.
Good for you. I half expected Sean to ask for the money on Niles' behalf.
Yeah,
But
I'm glad she didn't. She didn't.
Glad she didn't.
Well done. Then there was a break where Tiger Lily, she defended her husband for the fact that he called Matilda a sugar baby and or scammer. Then she called Niles a chihuahua who thinks he's a Rottweiler. Despicable.
Well, isn't that projection? Because that's exactly what her husband is.
Good call.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
He's an ankle biter.
Niles is so sweet. He decides to check in with Matilda, how she's doing. He apologizes to her again. What a sweetheart.
And his apology was a full apology that identified what he was apologizing for and what he's going to do to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Plus, it didn't contain any buts.
That's what I mean. It was a true apology.
He also wanted to talk to Mr. Ark again to apologize more clearly to him, but we didn't get to see any of that. If it did happen, we're not sure.
Yeah. He did make a comment that had Adnan disrespected his mom, I assume Niles meant Mrs. Ark. Niles said that he would have beat Adnan over the head with his fake arm. And that was the only time that I laughed in this episode.
Wonderful. Niles is great.
One thing I needed to note is that when Niles went to the back for his break to take a minute, he was sitting there, you know, with his arms out, and he was sitting next to the table. Did you see what was on the table?
Oh, there was a chocolate cake.
Yes.
Yeah. We noticed. No chocolate cake goes unseen in my world.
Made me laugh because, you know, the last episode with Veah and Sunny and the chocolate cake and Sunny's dad, and somebody got chocolate cake, and I'm really happy about that.
I know. I was looking at it going, oh, I'm glad he's taken the time to have a few bites of chocolate cake while he calms himself. That is very sensible.
Yeah. You know, maybe his sugar was a bit low too, which may have contributed to it. You know, a couple bites of chocolate cake on your break is not going to hurt you. It's only going to help you.
No, ma'am. No. What other things happened on this break? Well, we saw Veah asking Lauren about the girlfriend test, and he had a copy of it in his pocket.
And she laughed about how worn it looked.
Why does he wander around with a copy of the test in his pocket? He has a fiancée now, according to him. Why would he need a girlfriend test
on the show?
Whatever. And then Niles, did you hear? Asking Lauren if he was dropped on his head as a baby.
Okay, so I laughed twice in this episode. And then Lauren said that his aunt dropped him on an escalator when he was under a year old. And Niles was just like,
maybe that explains it.
Yeah. Good for you, Niles.
Good for you. Great. Comic relief. And then we went to Veah and what's his name again?
Oh, no, not yet.
Okay.
No. Because
next?
Well, Veah starts taking the test. And she answered one of the questions correctly. And then one of them was not correct. And then I think it was Lauren that said, well, I guess you can't date. And I was like, no, it wasn't Lauren. Who else was there?
Niles.
So then, you guys can't date. And she's like, not a chance.
Yes, I noticed her saying not a chance. That was another good one.
Even though a lot of people call her out for being like a pick-me woman, whatever. No, she is not going to date Lauren.
No, but we keep not saying this. He is an engaged man at this point. He is with Faith. So why does he have the test? Why does he need to administer it? And why would Niles even suggest that Veah and Lauren can now date? I mean, no, it's all a bit weird. They can't. Sorry,
they can't.
As if it was a possibility to begin with.
No, I think it was just Niles subtly insulting Lauren again.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm done.
Okay. So there was this very, very brief interlude where we went to Veah and Bojo again because he returned. Yeah. Sean said the producers managed to find him and bring him back. And when he comes back, he said he was asked, did you have a good meeting? He said, yes, thank you very much. It was very productive.
Nice choice of words.
Yeah.
Because it was production that pulled him back in. Production.
I'm thinking reproduction is what he was after during his interlude. Then we go to Magda and Joe. What is their relationship status? Well, according to Magda, they're stronger than ever. And Joe says he's lucky to have her and they're doing good. Okay, great. She did go to the States. She met his family and his friends, but they are not engaged. He's waiting for the right time, in quotations, even though both of them know that it will take about a year for them to get this K1 visa. He is still not proposing because he's waiting for the time to feel right.
Which is interesting because when he left Poland, he said it's entirely possible that he will propose when she goes there.
Yeah.
And yet he does not.
Mm-hmm.
And Magda makes a comment that, she needs to know sooner. I think it was Adnan that was like, how long are you going to wait for?
Yeah.
Maybe it was Sean. I don't know. Either way, stupid question. Doesn't matter. But she said that she needs to know because she can't just change her life in a minute. And yet that's exactly what she did.
I know. I was puzzled by that remark because she quit her job already when they were still just dating before he'd even gone to Poland, and she still does not have a job. And the way that this was just skated over like nothing, she says, oh, I know I'm still not working. What? And I was like, well, Sean, ask questions here. Yeah. Please discuss. Why do you not have a job? Why are you not? If it's going to take you at least a year to get your K1 visa and he hasn't even proposed yet, don't you think you should be working at least a little bit? Maybe.
Do you want to keep your apartment? Do you want to be able to feed your dog? And also, if you were working, perhaps you could start saving up money so you can also help pay for the K1.
Uh-huh. And
but
a lawyer? No. I'm just going to ask once a week if my boyfriend is going to propose to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure, whatever. That's really working in her favor so far, so keep on with it.
Sure is. And they don't mention whether or not she met Jill.
No. She just said, I met all of his friends. And then she mentioned the two that she really liked and she's still in contact with. But yes, Jill was not named.
She was not. But I wonder, because she said, you can still be friends with her and, talk on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But has he cut her out?
Has he?
Is she still on the friendship list?
I doubt he's cut her out. I doubt it.
Do they still follow each other on social media?
Well, this is not an issue that apparently is of any concern to Sean whatsoever, because instead we go over to the passport issue, which I must admit was interesting. When we saw Joe crying out for attention in the van on his way to the airport to leave for Poland, saying, I must return to the house forthwith, for I have left my passport behind. Oh, woe is me. Please help me make haste. Return the chariot to my mansion immediately. No, it was not for the passport.
I found this very confusing and also very telling. First of all, you don't need your backpack to grab your passport, do you? No. I don't.
Oh, he took the backpack into the apartment when they returned? Yes.
And he was zipping it up when the cameras came in.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that he was packing shooters. How did he even...
Many liquor bottles?
Yeah, but how did he get those through security?
Okay, so this was my question as well. Well, if they're small, if they're less than 100 mils, I guess that's fine. But we know, in Canada at least, I thought this was international, but maybe not. When you bring alcohol into a plane, it has to be purchased at the duty free.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not allowed to open it while you're on the plane. You have to drink the alcohol that's served on the plane. Mm-hmm. So do they have a different law in the United States whereby one is perfectly allowed to bring your own alcohol onto a plane and consume it?
And then he mentioned something about beers and how they're like $12 on the flight. Like, there's no way that you smuggle beer onto the plane.
No, I think he was saying that the shooters were $12. So he was saving $12 per mini alcohol bottle that he brought with him. And we still don't know how many, but just the stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we actually believed him. We thought we were the stupid ones. We thought he did leave his passport behind. But to find out that you're risking missing your flight for the sake of a couple of $12 bottles of mini alcohol that you're supposed to consume and buy on the plane, But you want to bring them from home? I think he does not even have one brain cell that is operating properly within his cranium, because that is the height of stupidity.
And not just that, but to miss your flight is one thing, but to potentially miss your flight to go back to get booze, to smuggle it on a plane, when you're supposed to be going to meet the love of your life, clearly that shows where his priorities are.
Yep. If he has fear of flying and he feels that he needs to inebriate himself in order to cope with the flying, just go to a pharmacy, get yourself some sleeping pills, knock yourself out for the flight. Alcohol is not the way to go.
Perhaps he was up all night drinking and the hangover was starting to set in, and he's like, oh no, if I don't start drinking now, it's going to get even worse. I don't know. I don't know. The idea of him bringing alcohol on the plane just blows my mind. Like, maybe they do have different laws down there.
Maybe.
I don't know. Just the idea, like the legalities regarding bringing booze on the plane, just no, the liabilities. Can't see it being a thing.
No, I can't either. I think he definitely was going to smuggle them on and drink them as if they were purchased on board.
And you don't think that the flight attendants are going to notice that he's chugging mini bottles before service has even begun?
Okay, so this is how you do it. He's got his little minis stashed in his backpack under the seat in front of him, as you're supposed to. He orders his tomato juice, whatever it may be, from the flight attendant, because those are free, right? Put them on your little tray table, surreptitiously reach under the seat, get your little mini bottle, dump it into your glass or plastic cup with the tomato juice, and who's to know what you've done? Who's the wiser?
Well, I'm talking about him doing it before service.
Okay, right.
Do you think he actually waited for the cart to come down?
Yeah, you got a good point. You got me. Yeah. Only Joe knows what happened.
He's not going to be forthcoming with it.
But the fact that he went back for these stupid bottles of alcohol, that it wasn't a passport at all, which I could have forgiven him for. Not that I need to really forgive him, but nevertheless, it just makes the whole situation worse.
Again, priorities, not in the right place.
No. Then we have another little break where we have Veah talking to Tiger Lily. Now, she asked this wonderful question, which I really was interested in and was anticipating hearing the answer to. She says, Tiger Lily, tell me about your previous marriage with the guy he was controlling, because I understand that you didn't like that. And so can you talk to me about your backstory a little bit? But no, because Adnan shows up immediately and he shifts the focus to himself. He can't allow these two women to have an independent conversation. He takes over, and Veah then wants to talk to him because Tiger Lily says she has to leave. She excuses herself. And then his answer to Veah is, but for what? What purpose could we have to speak together? As if she could not possibly have anything important to say.
And also, he can't even look at her.
No, he can't, because she's so scantily clad, as if, that it is indiscreet.
Right.
Sure. Well,
Let's
whatever.
call your mom. Let's call your mom, Adnan. Let's see what she would have to say about that.
Where you are at this moment, Adnan, you're in a television studio. You're in New York. This is America. Women are not subjugated to men. She can wear whatever the hell she wants. She is an independent, autonomous person with her own brain and her own desires and her own thought.
If I were her,
Nope.
and I was in a very petty mood, I would have gone and changed into that blue outfit, the blue number, because that one was even more revealing. Also gorgeous, just to rub it in his face. But he doesn't deserve the costume change.
He's insulting. He's ridiculous. He's insisting that all of his behavior, all of the things that he says have to do with his adherence to his religion. So therefore, he's coming from a place of non-corruption. He's coming from a place of goodness, of truth, of innocence, and everybody else is corrupt and bad. In a nutshell.
He is a bigot. I just had to look at the definition to make sure that I was correct.
Yeah. Well, he's also a misogynist. Postscript. P.S. He's a misogynist.
Yes.
Yes. Shall we move on?
Yes. And in other news,
Veah and Sunny. They exist as well. Who knew? So, sad news to start off with. They broke up. Aww. When Veah went home. Sad face. Veah went out on one date with somebody else who happened to be the dog sitter. Sunny got jealous. He did not like that. So now they're back on track. After 1 month of being apart, they reconciled and everything is A-okay. They are re-engaged. Everything is fine. They're going for their K1 visa. Good. Okay.
good for you.
Adnan. Fuck's sakes. Adnan. Where's your manly jealousy, Sunny? Where's your manliness? What? Are you suggesting that manly jealousy is, first of all, a thing, and secondly, good?
Healthy?
Are you suggesting that treating a woman like garbage, like a possession, is a good thing, and we should encourage other men to do the same?
Yes, because that's what he believes. Yes, breathe.
It's just so depressing when you're faced with this kind of person. It makes me feel like there is no hope for the human race, that we are doomed to forever move backwards in time to a place where women are so subjugated by men or religion, whichever one you choose to admit is the bad guy in this equation. We will never, ever come to a place of recognizing that women and men are just part of the human race. And we are all the same, except for one minor detail, which is our genitalia. Otherwise, no difference. Nope. Not for Adnan. Nope. Manly jealousy. Let's bring it on. Manly jealousy. Whoa.
All right. So glad that you care so much about another couple's relationship.
He doesn't. It's just an opportunity to flaunt and flare and do his flamboyant stuff for the camera.
To hear his own voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asks about the religion. Was it him or was it Sean?
I don't know. Doesn't matter. The religion came up.
It doesn't. And Sunny starts going on about how, it doesn't matter right now, but in the future it will. And he's not going to change her mind overnight. So he's actively trying to change her mind.
Yes.
And she says, no, I told you I'm not converting. And he's like, you will. Oh, no. Will I? And then Veah was quite smart when she said, we'll talk about this later. Yeah, that's right. Because we all know that Sunny leaves everything until the last minute, especially when it comes to religion. And I can see him telling her it's fine, or continuing to tell her it's fine. You don't need to convert. And then they get married. And he's like, you have to convert now.
This was so illuminating. I had actually believed Sunny when we saw him in the last episodes saying to Veah, it's okay. You can have whatever religion you have. I'll have my religion, and we don't have to persuade each other to convert. That's just not necessary. We can be two individual people with two distinct and different religions. I believed him. Stupid me, because that is not true.
I did not believe him because he's made comments in the past that are very similar to what he said on the show. Like, he only said it in the interviews.
Yeah.
When he was alone, or he was like, she'll have to eventually, but it's okay for now.
Well, color me gullible because I believed it. But him in this tell-all saying he's basically going to keep trying to brainwash her until she sees the light finally and converts to Islam was just so revealing to me. And just for my personal perspective, I would say to Veah, forget it. Don't. That's it. Because if he believes so fervently, so strongly that you are misled in your faith, which she has and is strong, she believes in Christ, she's a Christian, that he has to always try to convince you at any moment of the day that you are wrong and he is right, and you have to come. Like, that's just not right.
As you're talking about this out loud, You want to know what I thought?
Yes, I do.
Renee.
Oh, do we have to talk about her? But
No,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
we don't. It was just a very similar situation where she was saying, she has to show Chidi the truth and he will learn and then he'll understand.
It's like being in a cult where you believe so strongly that you are correct and the other person is wrong. And if only they will see the light, if only they will come around to your perspective, then they'll be released and life will be revealed to them in its fullness and in its glory. That assumption that the other person is not able to perceive the world correctly is just so condescending and such a I'll say it again. It's such a brainwashed perspective.
And it strips people of their autonomy. If you don't love her for who she is, and who she is not a Muslim. So if you can't love her for that and respect it, then obviously that's a non-negotiable for you. And this relationship, neither of you need to waste any more time because that's what it is. It's a waste. But he still intends to go to the States.
Yeah, he does.
Have
So
fun with that.
this was the second couple that still was lacking a bit of money. They said they needed $1,500 to pay to the lawyer before they can complete their paperwork for the visa. Okay. Again, Adnan is a pompous ass. He accuses Veah of cheating, even though we've heard the full story and it was not cheating. They were not together. She dated one time a guy that used to be her dog sitter, and that was that. But Adnan decides that is cheating, and he criticizes and judges Veah for it. No, thank you.
No, it's because if Tiger Lily did the same thing, she would be begging for forgiveness for the rest of their lives because obviously they would still get married.
Obviously.
And Adnan would hold that over her head for the rest of her life.
Yay. Don't we all wish for such a man? Okay, so Vanya asks Sunny if he would ever convert to Christianity for her, for Veah's sake. And he says, no, he won't. And she says, well, why not? And he says, because I'm the man. Really? And your penis gives you the right to override a woman's choice of religion? Huh? How does that work?
That's not how this works at all.
No. Okay. And then the other thing that we learn is that Sunny has kind of lost his connection to his dad over Veah, over the engagement. They only speak about business matters now. A bit sad, but he does seem to think that things will repair themselves in the future, just of their own accord. So I'm not going to worry about it.
I'm not worried about it in the slightest, though. I do wonder if he talked to his father after he and Veah broke up, or if he waited because he knew they were going to get back together.
Shouldn't say that.
Yep. Again, don't care.
Okay. Moving on. Brian and Ingrid. Okay.
Oh, God.
Okay. So was one of the things on our bingo card, on our theoretical bingo card, because we never did it, that Brian was going to bring up the issue of the relationship failing because of his wheelchair? That was definitely on my bingo card. Yeah. Okay. So that came up within the first 5 seconds. He says Ingrid wasn't ready for the relationship with him because of the wheelchair.
Yeah. She couldn't handle the fact that he was jumping off of curbs and could, do things. She kept telling him, oh, no, don't go over there. And she wasn't ready for that. I'm pretty sure the reason why she wasn't ready was because you were capable of doing some things. Perhaps she wasn't ready because you were incapable of doing a lot of things when you told her that you were completely self-sufficient and didn't need any help.
That's right. That's right.
Has nothing to do with things that he can't do, though. It's all about the things that he can do, and she's treating him like a toddler.
What? I know. You know what struck me the most about this segment? Ingrid was so poised. She was so controlled. She never spoke badly. She never got upset. When it was put to her that she might want to respond to something negative that was said towards her, she just said, no, there's no need for that. There's no point in battling. There's no point, I think she said, in exchanging bullets with Brian. That's fine. admired that so much. And I thought it spoke volumes about who Ingrid is, despite all of the nastiness that was headed towards her, especially from asshole Adnan, by the way, because
Yes.
he decides to judge her for being intimate with Brian, for wearing scanty clothes, the lingerie. Tiger Lily chimes in as well. She's talking about, why would you wear that if you weren't going to let him have it? And your cookie was hanging. I'm like, not front door.
As if Tiger Lily has never worn anything like that.
Or tempted a man. Or felt comfortable in her own skin and decided to wear something that made her feel sexy. Why not? This is Ingrid's choice. It's her body. It's her clothing. Let her do what she wants to do. Stop being so holier than thou. You were not the king and queen of the world or any kind of god. Shut the frogs up, please. Thank you.
Those poor frogs.
Frogs. I'm sorry, frogs. Yeah. So now, the story about Ingrid putting her finger on Brian's nose after the whole intimacy debacle where she stopped him from performing oral sex on her, and then putting her finger on her nose and saying to him, well, she has a boyfriend. That sounded so fishy to me. I know that's just my own perspective, but that just sounded like complete BS. And she denied it. Then I started thinking about it. I was like, okay, so try to think rationally, just try to take your emotions out of this. Okay, is it possible that she could have had a boyfriend in Brazil while she was flirting and playing with Brian and then visiting with him when he came to Brazil? And then I was like, okay, she's a single mom of 2. She has a full-time job and she's juggling 2 men at the same time. No.
And
not possible.
He met at least one of the kids, and he met her mom.
Yep. She doesn't have 2 boyfriends. She never had 2 boyfriends.
No, he said from the very beginning that he wanted to, show the truth about her. But in reality, we knew that he just wanted to throw her under the bus for making him look bad, when in fact he was the one that made himself look bad.
That seems to be Brian's modus operandi most of the time, is to turn things around and to put the focus on other people when he feels like it's getting too close to the truth for him.
Yeah.
So him trying to deflect and make it all her fault that she was some kind of cheating person, I don't buy it. And she was, again, so composed about it. If that had really been the case, maybe she would have tried to deny it more vehemently. For me, it fell flat.
Yeah, I think she's just totally done with his antics and didn't want to engage. And I thought that was great. Yeah. But you know who else didn't want to buy it?
Who?
Brian didn't want to buy the condoms. Apparently, she had actually said, let's stop at the convenience or whatever, stop somewhere to pick up condoms. And instead of, acknowledging the fact that she told him to buy condoms and he just didn't, he blames it on her.
I understand.
The store clearly closed. Okay, but you bought the lingerie and not the condoms.
Okay, but remember when we were first introduced to Brian, he was talking about how he was bringing so many condoms with him and putting them strategically in the hotel room every which place, just in case the opportunity arose while he was over there or over here.
That was the blue pills.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
He had the blue pills everywhere.
Makes much more sense now. Okay. And doesn't he have condoms from his
catheter?
Catheter. Thank you.
I don't know how those work, so I can't.
Maybe they're a different kind.
I think they would have to be.
Yeah, they'd have to have a thing for the tube on the end of them.
And there would be a hole in it, and therefore would completely defeat the purpose.
Good point. Thank you. Yeah, none of what Brian was saying was really making any sense. And then when they brought his daughter on, Brianna, as another unnecessary guest, she was being so diplomatic in her opinions on the relationship between her father and Ingrid. By the way, Brianna is 1 year older than Ingrid. That kind of clinched it for me, because when your daughter is so obviously trying to not say anything offensive towards her own dad, come on. We know what that is. She's protecting you.
And can we also take a second to acknowledge the fact that he named his kid after himself and threw an A on the end of it?
Yes, please. Let's talk about that some more. egotistical much?
And then when Ingrid asks about, why his 4 other marriages ended, and his daughter pipes up and just like, because he's 52, as if his age has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't been 52 his entire life. Has he had 4 marriages within his 52nd year of life? No.
No.
Therefore, your response makes absolutely no sense at all. And then, him trying to gaslight Ingrid about his age again. Well, she should have known that he wasn't 45, but he couldn't remember if he actually told her, even though he said every other person that he's met, he tells them within 5 seconds that, they know his name, his age, his social security number, like just all this stupid shit that makes absolutely no sense.
No, I know. I love the way that he said, well, everybody knows me online. Everybody knows how I roll or how I play. No, Brian, they don't.
How he rolls.
If
That was the greatest thing that you have ever said on this podcast. Yeah, it's so good. So glad I called you out on that one. Woo! All right, anyway.
his assumption that everybody knows what he really means when he's not telling the truth? Dude? We don't know what you're thinking. We can't read your mind. No.
We don't want to know either. And
so
also,
don't.
When you're dating online, the last thing that you're thinking is that they're going to lie about their age. If, he kind of looks like he could be like an older 45, not greatly aged 45, but, maybe. But why would she question him after 2 years?
Yeah.
But it's her fault for not asking and for just not knowing.
Hey, let's blame the victim. Come on. That's the easy way out.
Sounds great.
Come on. Everybody's doing it. Okay, finally, for their segment, Sean asks Brian, what about this girlfriend testing thing that you have? Not like Lauren's test, a little different test. Is it fair to put women through this test that he does? And Brianna actually agrees that it's not a great approach. So again, very telling for the daughter of this man to agree that something he's doing is not quite right. And they call him on the fact that he didn't reveal all of these very important details until he got to Brazil and was with Ingrid, like you said, like the age, like the multiple marriages, like the multiple proposals, like the
truth behind his accident.
Yes, the drug dealing, the actual truth of what happened. Was it truth? We don't know. He was just, his response to this was so defensive. He immediately went nasty and dirty and said, well, what about Ingrid? What about her with her 2 children from 2 different baby daddies? And the room went silent.
Well, Adnan actually supported him on that one.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Asshole Adnan is just...
Who is sitting next to his wife, who has 3 children with 2 baby daddies. And, well, I'm so glad we came to a consensus on that one.
Again, Ingrid is the height of decorum. She refuses to abase herself. She does not answer this question, which is the right answer. Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you for giving us this example of what a poised, calm, beautiful,
diplomatic.
Yes. A person who is contented and assured within themselves enough that they don't have to defend themselves against this deplorable and disgusting attack. Yeah. Yeah. Then we get the final break.
Well, hang on before that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you notice that Brian had cuts all up his arms?
No.
It looked like he'd been in an accident. Like they were completely scabbed over. But he was covered in like several gashes that were at least 1.5 inches, 2 inches long.
I will have to pay attention during the next episode to see that. I didn't notice.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. I just wanted to point it out.
Good note. Can we go to the break, or is there anything else?
Yes. Sorry. No, I just wanted to say that.
No. Okay. So during this next break, Adnan does not allow Tiger Lily to sit with him for their lunch meal. He's sitting with Joe and Lauren because he says there are bad things coming that these two men might say. I mean, it's totally absurd. The paranoia from Adnan is ridiculous. So he sends his wife away to eat somewhere else. I don't know where. Well, he sits down with these two men, even though they're about to say bad things, which they say, we're not saying anything bad about you. We haven't said anything bad about you. Why would you assume that? Okay, but he sits down with them anyway.
Because he assumes that everyone's talking about him. Because why wouldn't they?
Of course.
Everything revolves around him, which is what we've seen throughout this entire tell-all thus far.
Well, Adnan is not yet even 25, right? And around the age of 25 is when this
Frontal cortex.
frontal cortex
I don't know if it's the frontal cortex or the prefrontal. I think it's frontal.
But it kind of solidifies, and so you stop thinking so... I guess it's not egotistically. It's more like you stop thinking so with so much risk.
Emphasis on yourself.
Yeah, but when your prefrontal cortex is fully developed, then you start having this ability to see further on than just yourself.
Perspective.
Yeah, you can start doing things with the knowledge that there may be consequences. Like, if I drive my car very, very fast down the highway, I may have an accident, so perhaps I will ease up on the gas pedal a little bit.
It greatly impacts decision-making skills.
Yes. So he's not there yet, being so young.
Yet, if he'll ever get... Don't forget, he lives in Dallas, Texas. With that mouth.
I want to explain away his horribleness, and I'm really struggling with it. Anyway, moving on. Brian is outside with some of the other cast members. He's being a total idiot, as always. He says, oh, let Ingrid blab her mouth and say her shit when Veah asks how he feels about Ingrid now. That's his answer? Let her blab her mouth and say her shit. Projection?
And I really wouldn't be able to confidently say that she's been blabbing her mouth in any capacity. As you said, she's been very poised and reserved, just very, again, diplomatic.
She's so calm. I love her energy. And this concludes my notes. Is there anything that you want to bring attention to?
Just that Adnan was going on about how other people need to change, but not him. It was one of the last things that he said.
Sounds about right.
He says, you didn't respect me, so I don't respect you. I don't like you. Nobody cares, Adnan.
Did we have the showdown with Niles in this one where the security has to take them apart, or was that still in a preview?
I think we caught like the very beginning of it, and that's when Adnan was saying, you didn't respect me, and he doesn't need to change. And
yeah. Okay. I have no notes for next week other than to say, if the focus does not shift away from Adnan and Tiger Lily, I may be a grave danger of losing my mind. So forgive me if next week I am completely incoherent. It's a very real possibility. Fair warning. Okay?
Yeah.
Fair warning.
We'll get through it together.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Final notes? Excellent.
That's how much I'm looking forward to next week.
I love it. Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.